Welcome back after the break. We are going to now continue with the exchanges panel. Same, but different. And make some noise for the people, for the panelists, please. Give it up. Come take a seat. Ivo, Robin, and everyone, come join me, please. So we will have ourselves a little panel discussion. And I'm super passionate about the exchanges panel because my introduction to crypto was through Shapeshift. Some of you may know. And I feel like if you work for an exchange or you work for a bank, then you always see firsthand what is really happening in the market. And I would love to kick it off with an introduction. So each of you, if you could introduce yourself, so the person and then the company you represent here today. Denitsa, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Denitsa. After spending 15 years in traditional finance on the equity side, I joined Bullish last November, and I'm part of the European business development team based in Milan.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Guillaume Chatin. I'm head of institutional sales for Coinbase in EMEA. I believe everybody knows Coinbase very well. As a retail app and exchange, what is lesser known for is we're a platform for institutions as well. So we have big clients that are hedge funds, family offices, banks, insurance companies, and corporates. We have roughly $150 billion in assets under custody for institutions. And last year traded roughly $1.2 trillion on our exchanges.
And you have been around since 2013, right? Like after a bear market, Coinbase emerged and was created. Am I right? It's 9 years already.
Coinbase recently turned 10 years.
10 years,
yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Martin, you want to take it away?
So I'm the new kid representing FTX. It's only 3 years old, but now second largest exchange by volume. Was founded by Sam Bankman-Fried, sorry to say that, but I'm head Switzerland and part of the European management team. I'm a lawyer, consultant, regulatory guy, business guy by training. And I joined FTX recently because I think it's one of the best stories in the industry.
We will unpack that. Thank you so much.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robin Lehmann. I work for Swissquote Bank. I'm head of institutional sales at Swissquote. And besides that, I'm also part of the crypto asset solution development team. My past, actually, I was working 20 years, more than 20 years in the financial industry, mostly in investment banks. But besides that, I joined 2 startups. One of them was a crypto company that was taken over in the meanwhile by Deutsche Börse. And you know what I like, I mean, I'm probably a bit the exotic guy here on stage since we are the only one being a bank. But I like, you know, the technical setup and the innovation that Swissquote is having. We're quite active in cryptos, as we will talk about later, but we also cover all the rest of the asset classes that you could imagine, and that helps very much in order to provide good services.
Thank you so much. Ivo?
Hi, everybody. My name is Ivo Sauter. I'm for the last 20 years in finance, for the last 6 years focusing a bit more on crypto, and I'm working for BitMEX. I'm the CEO for Switzerland at BitMEX. BitMEX is a crypto derivative exchange, I would say one of the oldest, the inventor of the perpetual swap on Bitcoin. It's also our most successful product. Most recently, we have launched a spot exchange, and now in Switzerland, we are building up a broker.
Thank you very much. I would love if we dig a bit deeper in this next question, because the subtitle is same but different. So you may be familiar with all the companies and their representatives here, but what is really the USP? Like, in what way Bullish is trying to become the best?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Bullish is a regulated centralized exchange that provides institutions with access to DeFi features such as liquidity pools, where they can trade and deposit assets and earn a return on those assets. All that in a fully KYC'd environment. So we're essentially trying to bridge the gap between CeFi and DeFi giving institutions access to all the exciting innovation in DeFi, such as automated market makers and liquidity pools, which I'll touch on a little bit later.
Thank you very much. Ivo, would you like to address that as well?
Yes. We at BitMEX, as mentioned, we are one of the oldest crypto derivative exchanges. Obviously, we have done a lot there, are very well known there, and more recently, we're looking at widening that because we have realized we are very much focused on institutional clients. We want to widen that. We want to bring new products. We have launched quite a number of new products, and since the 17th of May, we have launched our spot market to provide as well less derivative-savvy clients a possibility to get into the ecosystem and then use as well, obviously, the possibility of leverage. And we provide up to 100 times leverage on our perps to trade the crypto market once they have a clear directional view. And I think that's what we're focusing and that's what we're believing in. And with our entity in Switzerland, obviously, we're looking for a bit of more regulated setup. So as many in the markets, we believe that regulation becomes more and more key, and that's where we're driving through with a setup in Bahamas, as some of our panelists here as well, and in Switzerland we're looking for more regulations as well.
When you say Bahamas, the crypto Bahamas comes to my mind, which happened recently, and it's one of the most important events globally. I think, Guillaume, if you could answer that question, because CoinDesk has plans to enter the derivatives market soon, and also you hired someone recently in Switzerland. I don't know if that's public yet, but you have plans in Switzerland as well. Well, we are obviously not going to give it away who that is if that is not public.
I can just confirm we have a representative that is just in the room next door, so everybody's seen him. Yeah, Coinbase over the last 10 years moved from being the disruptor into becoming the establishment in the crypto space. We're not just an exchange, we're much more than that, and we have a tech stack that enables us to touch almost every transaction in the crypto sphere. Some examples are with Coinbase Prime, we provide liquidity, custody, financing as well. With Coinbase Cloud, we're talking about staking, we're talking about SDK on-ramps, and we have a lot of other products such as Coinbase Commerce to help retailers be able to accept crypto as a form of payment. We have a data and analytics service. We have a great wallet that has been improving tremendously over the last 12 months, and many more things. Since it's an exchange panel, maybe we can talk a little bit about liquidity. Coinbase is the largest regulated exchange globally, but we're doing much more than offering Coinbase Exchange to our institutional clients. We have a smart order router that helps us connect and peak liquidity with multiple venues. So we're talking at this point in time 3 different exchanges, 3 different OTC venues, and that helps us manage like very large executions and give a much better price for our clients with a much reduced slippage. Just one example, if you're taking like a 5 million transaction on BTC or ETH, we realize that we can improve the pricing by roughly 30 basis points using that system.
Thank you. So the next question is to Robin and also to Martin. And we would love to learn a bit more also about your companies when it comes to USP. So when we prepped for this call, Robin, you shared that your FX desk works really closely with the crypto desk because obviously since Swissquote has been around since 1990, help me out here, 1995, you guys have access already to all these clients who then just want to dabble into crypto. You don't need to gain new clients, however, you just, I think you need to, but you have a competitive advantage here.
Yes, I guess so. I mean, we always happy to have new clients, and all the services and actually all the daily work that we do is the meaning of getting new clients and actually providing them the services and the products they need. But you're absolutely right. I mean, Swissquote Bank is live in the market since roughly 20 years. So Swissquote, the IPO was in 2000. In 2001, Swissquote Bank received the FINMA banking license. And I think one of the, if you look at Swissquote Bank in general, one of the USPs or one of the, DNAs within Swissquote is that the bank was founded by engineers and not by bankers. So from beginning on, the idea was actually to democratize the market of financial services or banking services. That's where they started in 2000 with the online bank, when you don't even have the smartphones at hand. And we provided access not only in terms of information, but also in terms of trading facility to all the different asset classes, equity, bonds, and so on. So then if we move fast forward to the year 2017, that was the time when Swissquote Bank was entering the market of crypto assets. And there again, it was driven because of the technical idea behind it by our founders. And actually, Mark Burke, one of the co-founders, is still the CEO of the bank. And that was the reasoning why we wanted to provide access to that asset class or to that technology. And since then, that business was growing heavily. And I would say, sure, one of the USPs was that we were already having market access, but since then we were developing further, not only on the liquidity side, where we will provide liquidity into 27 currencies currently and increasing them constantly, but we also offer custodian services, we offer deposit and withdraw services, so that's what we all cover, and we are now also having a couple of plans in the pipeline in order to further develop our exchange setup, but I think we are going to talk about that later.
I will have some follow-up questions to that point. And when it comes to FTX, you have been expanding in Dubai, in EMEA. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, to the extent I can. I mean, FTX idea is to branch out the success they had internationally. But the key differentiator for us will always be, we will do this fully compliant. We don't see ourselves as a crypto exchange. We see ourselves as a fully regulated financial service provider. We are in active engagement with all regulators and stakeholders and lawmakers. And in terms of innovation, it's clear for us that we are a thought leader, have to be a thought leader in terms of product innovation, but also in delivery of service quality. And there's a lot in the pipeline, but I unfortunately cannot share that at this point, but stay tuned. I believe this firm will make great moves and will be one of the key players in the future in the regulated financial services space.
I believe every firm here represented on the panel is going that way. The next question is to Guillaume and also Ivo, if you can elaborate that what are the asset managers, the crypto asset manager, crypto hedge funds are typically asking for? Because we talk always about B2B is coming, or some institutions are coming. What is their request? What trends are you seeing?
The evolution has been interesting. Like, you would have asked that question 15 months ago. Big managers were just asking, like, can I be just like long? Can I sell? Can I custody with you? Today is much more. They're using like the full suite of products that we have for them. So they're buying, selling, they're borrowing tokens in order to be able to be long short. They're doing some financing, in particular for post-trade credit. They're using the staking capabilities that we offer to them. They're making full use of the analytics capabilities that we have. And they're all lined up to enter with us the derivatives business whenever we launch derivatives as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a baseline which everybody thinks is taken for granted. That's the APIs, that's the security, that's the connectability. That means also there's volume and connectability and access to an exchange when the market is in an environment where some exchanges go off great. And I think that's what institutional even look much further and much stronger forward. And that's why I think these exchanges here, or our colleagues here on the panel, they go into similar direction. Now, what we at BitMEX, obviously, we are one of the oldest derivative exchanges. So we have the knowledge, we have the capability, we have the market makers, and we build more and more innovative products together with our customers. And I think that's what you see. I think we have at the moment 57 different products on our couple of core coins, and that's what institutional customers look. But I think it's beyond institutionals. I think we want to provide that for any kind of customer which is interested into derivatives. But obviously the institutional inflow is great, but we see as well more and more adoption in mass market retail, where the retail part was initially relatively limited to people out of the industry and technical focused people.
Thank you so much.
If I can add on the institutional side, we have two other types of clients, which will be, number one, introducing brokers. So I'm talking about payment companies, private banks, fintechs, who are looking to offer crypto services to their clients, and they're looking to use like white label solutions that we can offer to them. The second type of clients that is very interesting today is corporates. We have many retailers who are asking us solutions around commerce. How can they be paid in crypto and convert crypto into fiat? And we still also have very interesting discussions around NFTs. We have many CFOs calling us, telling us, marketing department is willing to do some NFT drops. I need to understand how the minting works. I need to understand what is the wallet infrastructure that I need, and how can I also buy ETH or the cryptocurrencies in order to be able to pay the gas.
Denitsa, do you want to add to that? What you have been seeing? What type of requests from institutions?
So, I mean, after the current Terra Luna debacle, we've seen one more time how important liquidity is. One of the biggest hurdles in crypto is that liquidity is often fragmented and unreliable. So the way to go around it is to kind of bring your own liquidity, which is why we created these liquidity pools that we work with. Essentially, the automated market makers that work in those liquidity pools are not emotional. They don't panic, right? So they keep on doing what they're supposed to be doing, make markets. And I think that's something our clients really appreciate, that when volatility really increases in the market, they're able to go to a venue where liquidity remains stable. So yeah, I think that search for stable liquidity is probably something that most of the sophisticated traders are going to keep on appreciating more and more.
Thank you so much. Do you still have the ball with you? Because
Sure.
We are going to wake you guys up a bit by, please raise your hand if you have a question, and if you catch the ball, then you can ask a question.
Then you wanna- okay.
I will actually stand up for this. So who has a question? We can mix it up, and let's see. I used to play basketball, but okay, Alison. Yeah. Who wants to take this?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can pass it back to me. No,
I will send you one.
I will come
When you,
closer.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if we do the same for the next one.
So maybe I can take this because I see this a little bit as my home turf. I mean, similar to established banks and other financial services providers, your relationship with the regulator is key. And unfortunately, especially in the DeFi space, we see very often that these programs are run like IT projects. And at the very end, there might be some financial regulation which we have to take care of, but then it's very often too late. So this is going to be one of the key strategic points and decisions you have to make in your project very early on. And then you have to have someone who really understands how to treat the regulator. In my view, the Swiss regulator is a very reasonable body. And I mean, it's not perfect, but I also see that a lot of the players in the space make material mistakes. So it's not always the regulator to blame. Very often it's also the candidates. But especially Switzerland is a great place to get regulated because we have a good regulator and a good regulatory regime. And it's a key strategic priority, and that's why also FTX decided to hire someone with my background for this position. Because
For
I'm
those
not
of you who don't know, Martin used to work for PwC for a long time.
Yes, in the regulatory space, I helped authorize a lot of digital asset companies. And that also shows what really the strategic priority of FTX is and what I think sets them apart, in addition to having Sam Bankman-Fried, which is obviously one of the best stories and personalities you could find, not just in crypto, but just in real life.
What is what strikes you about SBF the most? If you're saying that he's the best personality, but like why or how?
Yeah,
How
I mean,
so?
Look at his life story. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, it's so genuine. It's so caring for humanity, what he's doing. I mean, he's so iconic already, and I think he's going to be someone like Bill Gates probably, or at least, yeah. So.
Yeah, we will see hopefully how or where FTX is.
He's larger
heading.
than life.
Yeah, I'm very positive about this, and I'm a.
I can just
SBF.
add to that, just answering the question. I think the Swiss regulator is doing a fantastic job because they work with the companies and try to create a regulatory framework that is friendly and makes the industry go forward, right? So if I can think of what the regulators can do better, is just work closer with companies like us, because we are trying to innovate, right? Crypto is about exponential innovation. So just working closer to the companies would be the best thing for them to do. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that much of that right now.
And I actually couldn't agree more when you're talking about the Swiss regulator and what a good job they did. And that's also one of the reasons probably why we all here. And I think it's very important that the ecosystem is going to grow in Switzerland also for the financial market. And we as a bank actually have a lot of discussions when you talk about institutional investors. About our regulation, actually having a banking license from FINMA is the highest regulation that you can get. And that's not only important for the custodian services that we offer, but also on the trading side, right? And there's often also the question if these services can all be offered ring-fenced, like really based in Switzerland when you do the custodian for the crypto assets. And that's especially for institutionals a huge topic and very important setup.
Yeah, maybe to add quickly, yes, FINMA is doing a great job. They were very early in the game, have built up quite a bit of knowledge during that period of time, and they are very approachable. I think the challenge is beyond that, because we are having global products. And that means at the moment, as an exchange, you can have it out of one country, but ultimately you want to build clientele in every country and probably need to look into several jurisdictions. And I think that's probably where I see quite a bit of improvement potential from regulators to work closer together and hopefully that other regulator follow the Swiss framework, take it over or do something similar so that this global product and ultimately crypto only functions really when we can use it globally as well, so that we have the security of the law globally in a similar way. I know that's a huge challenge, but at least between the major jurisdictions, we hope that some framework getting pushed. We know there's a couple of initiatives around that, and we see things improving, but there's still a way to go.
Yeah, I agree with what Ivo just mentioned. Just to close maybe on that topic, I think what is very important is to have harmonization in the discussions that we have with the different regulatory bodies. Everybody here wants to be engaged with regulators, so we want to speak with them. We want them to have the same discussion with each of us, so some level playing field as well as harmonization.
Thanks so much for chiming in, all of you. here. The next ball drop will happen a bit later because now I just want to say, Martin, that I'm also an SBF fan. I love how humble and genuine and brilliant his mind is. And when it comes to global crypto markets, then we know that 90% of the derivatives transactions, crypto derivatives, happen outside of the US. And FTX purchased last year LedgerX, a derivatives exchange. It's funny because I work for Ledger and my CEO Pascal received a lot of kudos because some people in the ecosystem don't know that Ledger and LedgerX are two different companies. So what is the plan? Like, you guys are trying to innovate in a way where you're making it much easier for these derivatives to like, there's a change in the settlement, I understand that it's not going to be as centralized as it became after the credit crunch. So can you allude to that a bit? And then I would love Guillaume to chime in on the derivatives plans of Coinbase.
Yeah, so FTX USA, which is kind of the US arm of FTX Group, has been proposing to the CFTC, which is the regulator of derivatives in the USA, a new way to settle derivatives trade. This is very technical and very boring, but at the end of the day, it shows that the firm is very innovative and is part of the establishment, but tries to change things for the better, how they're done, and not just for cryptocurrencies, but also for traditional derivatives. Obviously, the pushback, there was some pushback from established players. But yeah, there was a story behind it, and yeah, the innovation is key within FTX. Yeah.
Thank you.
On the derivatives front, what I can share is Coinbase acquired a platform in Q1 this year called FairX. FairX is a derivative exchange that is regulated by the CFTC. So we already have a DCM now. Our plan is obviously to launch derivatives at some point on our platform for retail as well as for institutions. And we believe in the existing traditional model of doing so. So we've been applying to become a futures commission merchant in the US, waiting for this authorization. And as soon as the authorization comes, we'll be able to launch the derivatives on the platform.
Thank you very much. Now to just do a question to all of you, just curious from Danica up until Ivo, if all of you could say that where your main revenue comes from, what product?
Spot trading. We're a spot-only exchange as of now. I mean, we launched in November of last year. We've already traded over $25 billion of volume, and that was just as of 3 weeks ago. So we're growing rapidly, but we also need time to develop various features. So yeah, would be spot. We are the deepest Bitcoin trading venue in the world. So I'd say the majority of our business is in Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Cheers. If like, make some noise if you're a Bitcoin fan, or if Bitcoin is your favorite coin. Like, whoa! Okay, we managed to wake up the audience a bit. Guillaume?
To talk about the trend, last year we 10x'd our volumes on the exchange. For institutions, we traded 1.2 trillion, and it was 120 billion the year prior. We also had our, how do you say, Q1 revenues not so long ago. We had $1.2 billion in revenue for the quarter. 1 billion roughly was from transactions on the exchange. The 0.2 remaining was additional services. So custody, staking, other services. What I'm seeing is that staking is taking a growing part of the revenues quarter after quarter.
What's the latest staking coin you guys added as support? Just out of the blue asking the
I believe it's
question.
Cardano.
Cardano? Super. Thank you.
So FTX daily has a volume of around 10 billion. That's roughly 3 times what the Swiss Stock Exchange is doing. And the split is basically 1/5 is spot, and the rest is derivatives, and they're almost 99% of the so-called perpetuals, which are basically futures which are rolled on a daily basis with some digital assets underlying.
Thank you.
So if you would look at the revenues from Swissquote Bank, then you would see that last year, full year 2021, we generated 22% of the net revenues with the crypto business. So we have a well-diversified offering, as I said, and income set up. So and out of these 22%, we generated the revenues with our custodian offering, although we have a very attractive offering. So it's on rather low margins what we generate on that side, and on the other hand we generate incomes on the trading facility, so on the execution of volume. All in all, by the end of last year we had 2.8 billion asset under management on crypto side, and
2.8.
Sorry?
And I'm saying I repeated 2.8
we had,
billion. Okay.
and we had about
wanted to
you want to do the math? But about almost 17 billion in turnover. And recently, this year, obviously, as Guillaume said as well, we launched the staking as well, and we also believe that there, we are going to add more and more after Tezos and Polkadot. We are going to add more and more coins on that side. And I think in general, ways how to generate yield on your positions is probably something that is becoming more and more important in the next coming months and years.
It will be the minimum requirement. Yeah. Thank you very much. Ivo?
Yeah, BitMEX, as mentioned, is a derivative exchange. However, we launched our spot product, where we have now already a turnover of roughly 10 million a day. On the derivative side, we do within 24 hours roughly a billion. And here, our perpetual swap on Bitcoin is our main product, which is roughly half the volume.
Maybe I just can add, if you were doing the math still.
Absolutely.
So I mean, the days where we had like where we had most traffic within our trading facilities, that was around 200 million daily volume that we traded, and in average is about 65 million that we trade on a daily basis.
Super. You want to catch the ball?
Say it again?
I will drop the ball for you so that you can drop it to someone else in the audience who dares to raise their hand and catch the ball and ask a question.
There is a long-standing question, but it's a difficult one.
Woo.
Perfect.
I'm very happy that you all are going for regulation, and at least you can go for 210 banking licenses to cover the whole world. But I think you also live at the heart of our ecosystem. And when I joined the blockchain ecosystem in 2015, we wanted to approach the customer group of people in remote areas who have not full KYC or resident or domicile. And we have developed a lot of technology projects who are also, as a part of the technology, needs to exchange tokens or to build bridges to other blockchains, so that we have a network on stability and of technology. So where is your support or your intended support to the whole ecosystem, that we get the regulatory on the way, on the base, that also these projects can survive? Because if you're missing the customer group one, and if you're then in future missing also a lot of blockchain projects, then you have no customers. So I would really recommend that you join us to lower the regulation in a way that we can survive and approach the targets we have in 2015 already set.
Thank you for the question, Guido.
So what we are doing, on the one hand, we have a venture fund, which is highly capitalized, I think with 2 billion or so, where we invest in these kind of projects. Second of all, FTX as a group is very much engaged into the dialogue with lawmakers, with regulators, with all the key stakeholders. So our attitude is really proactive, go to into the direction, into the discussion. And obviously, regulation is not something we wish for, but it's something you have to embrace in certain areas. But I think it's a good point, because we have to bifurcate now. Not everything is regulated, because blockchain has so many use cases that a lot of it should remain unregulated. And maybe at the time now, it's the right time where we have to split it a little bit more, to make it more detailed. And in a way, some of the blockchains are so important, like the internet, or like telecommunication systems, or like the seas. So it's basically common heritage of mankind, which has to be regulated in a totally different way than just a financial product. And I think these discussions are ongoing or have started on the UN level, on international levels. But obviously there's much more to go. But that's probably the direction which this discussion will go.
Does that answer your question? I believe it does to some extent. Perfect. Then we can move.
Do you need money? Do you need money?
Part of one of the most of the leading projects of the Commission board member, but money is not the topic. I'm really scared about that regulation will be a fear and a problem for our normal, not the banking, not the exchange, but our normal blockchain ecosystem. And I was joined it to really do something for the world and not for the regulator.
Thank you. Good. Then let's go further with my question, which is addressed to Danica and Martin, and it goes the following way. So, when it comes to crypto adoption breaks, what do you see? What is holding back institutions in order to put more of their assets into crypto?
Well, I think just picking up on the regulation topic, the lack of regulation when it comes to institutions is no longer a feature, it's a bug. So they need regulatory clarity in order to come. We've been hearing for a long time that institutions are coming, but they continue to shy away from the space because of regulation. I also think we need a culture shift. I was at a large conference a couple of weeks ago in London, and I was listening to some very large fund managers confuse El Salvador for Nicaragua, quote that Bitcoin is used by gangsters to launder money. Like we need to move away from that. People, these are smart people, okay? So if they get it, they need to start educating themselves further. They need to, we need to change. We need a cultural shift. And on top of that, I think there are some very real barriers when it comes to infrastructure. As I mentioned, liquidity, the lack of cross-margining across a lot of platforms, lending rates changing on an 8-hour basis. The infrastructure definitely needs to step up, and we're trying to do our part in the process.
I hope that you pointed them to the CBA when it comes to education
Absolutely,
and joining them.
absolutely.
Thank you. Martin, what is your take? What is missing?
Yeah, I can echo this. Really, that infrastructure, I think, is a big part, which is kind of a lot of institutions are looking into the space. They would like to invest, but they don't really feel secure yet. But the infrastructure is improving month by month almost, and a lot of these exchanges will help to do this. But then I think also sometimes the experience level, for example, in the asset management space, is a little bit lacking. So it's actually very hard to find experienced, seasoned people who in the asset management of digital assets. So obviously this will come, professionalism will come, and I think also the institutional adoption will come. If you look at other asset classes who have been developing over time, last example probably hedge funds, it's going to be probably very similar, the progression and the development. Obviously this time is a little bit a different thing because it's much more new technology involved. And I think I agree totally that over-regulation is never good, and we have to be here very clear what should be regulated and what not, and that's sometimes not so easy to say, is it now just IT or is it the financial service? And this discussion obviously has to be further discussed and to be more detailed, but it's an ongoing process, but it's a very good point.
Thank you. Guillaume, do you have something to add to the breaks, like the crypto breaks? We still have 20 minutes to fill with exciting content. So I'm looking forward to the next question.
Bear with me then. No, I think regulation is very important. There are other things. I think speculators and bad actors is something that is, at this point in time, like putting a brake on institutional adoption. Everybody knows about Luna. Having like Luna 2 coming 2 weeks after, like 60 billion was just like evaporated. Not sure it's the right thing for this industry. the other thing that is missing probably is all the back office system. Like we've done like a tremendous job, like working on like all the front end, having the liquidity, having derivatives market, but all the back office and all the booking systems are still not really in place for these hedge funds.
So, since you addressed Luna, how should exchanges react to a situation, what happened to Luna? Should exchanges not play a governance role or a role in the governance of such an event? What was the playbook for you guys at Coinbase, if you can share something about UST?
Well, our goal as an exchange is to provide a marketplace that is neutral, where our customers are able to engage with tokens that have been through like a very strict evaluation framework, and that we deem are safe from a coding point of view, and compliant. That is not like our objective, and we're not in the business of providing investment advice. However, like our view is that education is super important. So we're trying to do that. We're opening the research, which is available for free online. We have like great researcher. We have like a Coinbase Insight as well that we launched a few weeks ago. I would encourage everybody to go on the website and read this. The other thing that we're doing is we have a program called Earn. This is more
A program called
Earn.
Earn.
It's basically earn to learn. It is for average customers who need to learn about the tokens that they're going to buy. And whenever we're listing a new asset, we give the opportunity to do like 2-3 minute video, interact a little bit with these videos, and earn some tokens for that.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait to try and tank up on some tokens. So, Ivo, what do you think? Should exchanges have a layer of governance or a role in the governance of such an event? What happened to Luna?
I mean, exchanges shouldn't be regulated, right? I think, first of all, as my colleague said, we are a marketplace. We are trying to provide fair prices as however the market moves. So for BitMEX, in that case specifically, we had a swap on it, and once the spot price, the underlying price, kind of more or less disappeared or wasn't able, we had to delist that because a fair price finding was not possible anymore. And we have people in a derivative contract which are long and others which are short. So a fair price finding is key. I think that to that specific event. But even if you would look at them, I mean, it was clear what UST and Luna did. Now most people had a different approach in how to assess that risk, and I think that's a fair thing which happens in investments, in crypto investments as much as in traditional investments. Otherwise, the 2008 crisis wouldn't have happened, right? There we had also an event where risk was charged wrongly, or a risk part was not viewed as risk, and the same thing happened now with UST and the underlying Luna. Now they try to make it better. If they will get the trust of the community again to that extent, I think we will see in the next couple of weeks.
If I can just add to that, I think what's really interesting in this whole Luna debacle is that people did not capitulate on the stablecoin asset class. Money flew from the weak ends into the strong ends. So we saw money fly really into USDC. So yeah, we definitely need to improve things, but the stablecoin model is not wrong. Like, we just got a confirmation on that. And I think it's just working process, right? We're not going to get it all right the first time, but we're getting there slowly, and that's really encouraging.
It has a counterparty risk, which before was not really taken care so much. I mean,
Absolutely.
Everybody was looking at Tether and said Tether is not handled or underlined properly. The attack of Tether didn't pay off, at least not that time. Not saying that in future times it won't. And it's a trade-off, right? Either you wait for a central bank to do a digital currency, a major central bank doing a digital currency, or you believe in currency launched by foundations or other companies. And that's a trade-off. And if you want to have it very DeFi, then you believe in algorithmics setups. And I think every investor should do their assessment and should have the freedom to invest in what kind of risk they believe. I mean, I said any of these coins has a certain risk. USDC, if the US, the Senate starts freezing their assets, could also be a risk. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
it's now a possibility.
Each part of them has a certain risk, and an investor should judge that risk and then think of how to treat that. And that's in traditional markets the case, and so is it in the new market.
We definitely learned so much, right? You see so much data on chain, and with such projects, like we all know, it is an experiment. And by the way, if you leave the room, please don't slam the door because it's really disturbing for us. So kindly asking you to kindly silently close the door if you have to leave. Thank you. So the next question is going to hopefully provide with exciting information to those who are maybe looking to get a job in crypto or thinking about it. And I'm curious that Danica, you have been for a few quarters and now working for Bullish. You have been before for a long time in traditional markets. What's the most aspiring to you about Bullish?
And in crypto overall, what's really inspiring about Bullish is that we're an innovation-driven company. And for me, crypto is all about innovation. I mean, when you think about the first Bitcoin that was sold on the new Liberty Standard in 2009, I think it was 1,006 Bitcoin for $1. The price was set on a mechanism valuing the amount of electricity generated to produce the Bitcoin. 13 years later, we are pricing Bitcoin by automated market makers in liquidity pools where there's unique price discovery. We've come along right? So imagine what we're going to come up with in the next 13 years. So for me, Bullish and crypto overall is about innovation, and that's what's really exciting.
Is Bullish hiring now?
I'm not sure that's public. I don't know if I can comment on that, but yeah, there's great talent in bear markets that we're always on the lookout for. So yeah.
Super, thank you. Ivo, are you onto your fifth crypto company or fourth? Help me. The fifth? Fourth. Okay. So to you, as an experienced crypto veteran, what is the most aspiring to be in this industry?
I mean, it's a combination between a really interesting, fast-developing technology, seeing that, learning every day new things. I mean, I believe if anybody here says he knows everything about crypto, means he doesn't even understand that he doesn't know everything, which is a very early level, because there's so many protocols, so many new use cases and protocols that there's endless learning, and the industry forming around that, being an exchange, working on new products, doing things for money or doing things for greater belief. I think that part is so exciting that the combination of that creates a very unique job atmosphere, which I believe people who are interested in change and fast-moving environments have a perfect space to get into. And yes, we're hiring as well. So please free to check on our webpage.
Thank you very much. Just to assess the audience a bit more, please raise your hand if you happen to work in crypto or blockchain tech. Okay, so this is about around 40%, 45% of the room. Thank you.
just maybe to add, because I think, the crypto space, and I entered in terms of working in 2017 into that space, and I think if you look back, you always had these cycles, probably with other product or asset classes as well. So you had like the structured products, they were evolving in the 90s, and then you had, private markets at all, private debt, private equity, hedge fund business. So I think this crypto space is just like currently like a new asset class that is developing very quickly, and there is a lot of, you have a lot of risks obviously that you take. You will still have some consolidation periods, which we are probably seeing now, which is normal for an emerging market, like if you want to see it as an emerging market, that you have these consolidation and you have things and projects that fall off and you have others that are going to stay. And I think, at the end of the day, I guess it is also moving them closer together again, since a lot of things and solutions that you will be able to provide within the crypto asset technology are probably then in the same asset classes like equity, bond, or whatever. So I think that's very interesting and very, very nice to see. And for me, it was important at Swissquote, you have kind of the institutional company already, but still having that startup and innovation where you move forwards. And I think that's probably the place where you want to be, and not being somewhere where you don't change your mind, A. And B, I think for a lot of IT guys and quant guys, it's a very interesting play field as well, because that's getting more and more important, not only within crypto assets, but as well.
So, sorry, I would like to add here, sorry, Robin, for that. I think that's a very bank's view, or a bank and an exchange view. It's a new asset class, and it's here to stay. I think we all believe in that. But if you look at the protocols and what certain protocols want to do, it's beyond that. And I think if you want to enter the crypto space, you shouldn't only think about it from the view we probably here all share, with it. Yes, it's a new asset class. Yes, it's exciting. It's yes what we are offering, and that's what we're doing. But there's a protocol level as well. Crypto can be used for so many more things than just as cryptocurrencies, and I think that has to be thought about as well. And that's for me also an excitement to be part in this community.
No, I absolutely agree. That's what I mean, right? It's going into these directions.
I think Robin alluded also a bit to those who maybe work for a bank in the audience now and they're not ready to jump, full into working for a pure crypto exchange or a DeFi company. So it is obvious that we are in a bear market. Like, it has to go down to go back up again. We know that we go through cycles in crypto, and what's the most exciting, not just in crypto, but traditional markets as well, that we don't know how long the bear market lasts. And so I would love to hear what you're focusing on in the bear market. And then, Guido, if you could drop the ball, because you can't keep it, to someone who has a question. Maybe Martin or who wants to answer this question? What you're focusing on now in the bear market, especially where you put your attention and effort to?
Yeah, so I'm not an asset manager by training, so I cannot tell you when the bear market is over or whether we're just having a deep correction. But from an FTX point of view, I mean, nothing has changed in terms of strategy. The strategy has been set and is being executed. We see this as an opportunity to acquire talent, to acquire companies, and to focus maybe more on operational implementation.
No.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Guillaume, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. Like, I think we're in the beginning of the crypto winter. It's like we're in crypto winter. Where at this time, not everybody is going to survive. It's good to have a large balance sheet. You mentioned about M&A. I think this is something that is going to happen. We're going to see some consolidation. What is important is on our side to regroup, focus on building what is going to be important for the next bull cycle. Typically, what you do in bull cycle, you scale up, and in bear market, you continue to build and innovate. So we're going to continue like this.
If I can add to that, yeah, I think bear markets are definitely for building, so focus on rolling out new features. But one other thing that we are trying to do is work really closely with our clients, treat them as partners, get their feedback, and understand where they are, what they need, and how we can innovate together and change the business model together. Just create true partnerships, right? Not just disappear and wait it out.
Merci. Thanks.
I absolutely agree, and I think that's not only what we are, doing like within the bank as well, but also what you see with the clients, right? So they're now positioning. So on the asset management side, as an example, they still, setting up products in order to be ready when actually the market is moving again. So they are preparing, and we at Swissquote we also investing into our infrastructure. We are currently working on a Swissquote exchange that we are going to launch next year in order to be able to even service better our clients, A, in terms of conditions, and B, also in terms of the offering that we are having. So we are going to set up a central limit order book where we have a couple of different liquidity providers, some of the biggest liquidity providers. Swissquote is going to be active then in the future also as market maker. And currently that allows us to test that infrastructure to go live and then to build it out in order to cover the whole market. And there at the end, it's important to have, much time prices in the market, tight spreads, and big liquidity that you can offer.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously, we like all the crypto summers much better than the crypto winter. I think it's now my fourth or fifth times we're going a bit into that cycle. Typically you're closer to the bottom when everybody says Bitcoin is a scam and doesn't work tomorrow anymore, and nobody will touch Bitcoin anymore. I haven't read that in the mass media too much, so unfortunately I think we are not there yet. But as everybody else, I think a good balance sheet is key to be exactly able to focus on product innovation, to typically for clients or for investors, it gives a chance to enter at reasonable or more reasonable valuations, and to see as well which of the projects, which of the protocols, which of the coins are coming through something. So there is consolidation. Some things will fail, some things will disappear, but the ones who survive typically come out much stronger, and that's an opportunity as well. And I think that's an important part of cycles, and I always liked the internet bubble. If we looked at 2000 bubble, the companies survived that are now the most valuable companies in the world, and it needed that bubble, it needed that downturn, it needed that split between good ideas and long-term lasting companies, and everybody who just jumps on the momentum. And I think I'm not sure if we're there yet. Probably we need a couple of cycles more, but I think that's what is needed here as well. So it's obviously short-term a bad thing for all the companies involved in it, because we have a hard time to make money. But I think for the industry, it's a good thing as well.
So many sparky eyes and so much good advice here. Guido, are you ready to? Don't kick. Just throw the ball. It's behind you. There is someone who has his hand up. Thank you very much.
You were talking about stablecoins. What do you think is the most promising approach for a Swiss franc stablecoin?
I actually, interestingly, was at a presentation today. The Swiss National Bank has a parallel event. Unfortunately, the two events coincide. That's why we couldn't have Thomas Moser from SMB today. And Frankencoin was presenting, and Lucius Meister is behind that. And I see, Martin, that you have an opinion about that, right? Would you like to take this question?
No, I was just a funny name, Frankencoin.
Yeah. Okay. So who wants to take the question?
I mean, if the Swiss National Bank would create the Swiss franc, the e-Swiss franc, that obviously would be a very good thing. Because for everybody else, the cost, the hedging cost, especially in a negative interest environment, is going to be super deep. Now, the Swiss National Bank is kind of talking sounds much more they want to do it for a wholesale Swiss franc, so that only banks can do it, which in my opinion is not what the industry needs. I think we would need something for everybody. Here, I think the Swiss National Bank still needs to get a bit more sense on what does it mean for the banking system. And at least during my previous talks with Thomas Moser on that topic, the Swiss National Bank seems still to be a bit worried that if people can hold a Swiss franc stablecoin covered by the Swiss National Bank, that this would be very bad for the Swiss banking system. Now, all the other things in Swiss francs, I think all of them have their limitation precisely due to the negative interest rate. I think once we're out of the negative interest rate territory, it should become much easier for somebody to have something, to implement something with a one-to-one pack.
Thank you very much. Danica, Guillaume, Martin, Robin, Ivo, you contributed such good and exciting content, and I would invite the audience to give it up, put your hands together